So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another joint album review of The Shield Dude in a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and tonight I'm joined by Señorita Sabrosura. How are you, Señorita?
Hi, everything good. How about you?
I'm doing good. I can't believe it's almost summer.
I can't believe it's almost summer.
Yeah, and we're here because we're going to talk about a band that I recently discovered like a month and a half ago because Spotify they give you suggestions of things, and I listened to a band called Soft called Teenage Race, and there's like a new resurgence in bands that are doing like very 90s like alternative grunge and shoegaze, and so I discovered this band. They're called Mama. They're a four-piece, and they have two females in the band and two males, and I think they both females do singing. So they reminded me a little bit of Soft Cold, but Soft Cold is more like on the shoegaze side of things, I believe, and this band is more like alternative to me. And they have a new album that came out last Friday called "Welcome to My Blue Sky." I believe it's their third album, and I also listened to their previous stuff. So I've been hooked with this band, and I said I want to do this review with Señorita Sabrosura. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that album. So, Señorita, you didn't know this band either,
I,
right?
I, when I was listening today, that I went back to the other albums, I had like one of the songs. So I listened to one of their songs. I think it's like Bang Bang. That's the only song I listened before, but I don't remember the band or anything. Maybe when like listening to recommendations and I like it. But no, I'm really happy that you brought this band to my attention. Uh, so yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna. This is an album that I almost reviewed myself alone, but this Friday, there was some huge metal stuff. I'm like, my audience will want the metal stuff first.
Yes.
So this is for my other type of audience who like more like chill alternative rock. Uh,
Yeah.
thank you, the Green Man. He probably will enjoy this band. So yeah, this album is 12 songs, 39 minutes in length, and so we're gonna talk, our first impressions. So, Señorita, what were your first impressions listening to this?
Well, I immediately like it. It's been raining a lot all these days. We're in rainy season here. It's not summer, it's raining season. And I thought this is the perfect album. So I listened it a couple times over the weekend and again today. And today was like really thunderstorms and rain. And it's like, oh, this is a great album for a rainy day. And I felt like I was listening to a band from the 90s, but at the same time they have some elements like they feel fresh and new. uh and for me it had that perfect combination of dreamy pop, some shoegaze elements, uh, uh like you say, alternative, indie rock, and it has some even grunginess in some songs here and there. um, and I like it because they remind me of a lot of from bands from the 90s that I like Slow Dive, Garbage, Breathers, even Dinosaur Jr., and of course Cranberries. Like her voice remind me a little of Dolores. I think I told you. No, like she can go that far like Dolores, but something in the metal of her voice, like it remind me a little of Cranberries and even Garbage.
Yeah. So for me, it did remind me of a lot of bands, but also it reminded me of a band called Cedar from the 90s who had like they they had like a huge hit with Can't Fight the Cedar, and all that the other similarity with that band, there were two females and two dudes.
Okay.
That's a very something similar. Four people, two of them are dudes, two of them are female, and both females did like I think the two females in this band do guitar, if I'm not mistaken, and both do singing. And like for me, first impressions, I liked it because it's a it's very it has some variety to it. You know, they have the
Yeah.
slower songs, they have like the more grungier songs, then they even have like the more like poppier friendly sounds
Yeah.
of like a 90s like alternative rock band. So they mix all that to have an album that's really cohesive, really flows well. And I think the key word to this album is like nostalgic.
Yeah.
It's a newer album. It brings nostalgia of like other bands like they grew up like we grew up with. But the thing is, they don't sound like a copy paste. They have like something that makes them their own. So it doesn't. It's like they took all of those influences and they mixed it to make this album. Because I heard some maybe the Breeders. I heard like different type of bands, Garbage. You know which one I heard also too, like a Belly, which was
Okay.
90s type of band. And the singles, the first single I heard from this band was Ohio All the Time. And I
Okay.
that one. And first of all, I think it came in a playlist and I thought it was Soft Call. Oh, there's a new Soft Call because I've heard they're putting out an album this year as well.
Okay.
Obsessed with that band. But then I listened to, but no, I'm like, no, it's another band. It's called Mama. And so I started listening and I listened to that one, the other single, I Want You Fever, which has been stuck on my head for months. The last month I've been have that head, like song on repeat. And they also had another single, Bottle Blonde.
Yeah.
So those singles really, and I like because every single is very different.
It's
So
very different.
So that's what I'm like. Yeah, each single, even though you can tell it's the same band, it has like little subtleties. And I was excited for this release. So I'm glad that I got to. Thank you, Spotify algorithm. For
Thank you to Softco and all those bands you've been listening to.
listening to
Oh,
that. Suggest me other bands. So yeah, those were my first impressions listening to this. So uh,
nice.
let's talk tracks that we enjoyed. Tell me what tracks did you?
Well, of course, you mentioned I Want You Fever. I thought that was a super catchy song. It has like an earworm, like it gets stuck in your head. Um, but I like when they slow down. I love How to Breathe. I read that song is about a queer high relationship. Uh, but I thought it was like a perfect dreamy ballad. Like the band, like they showed you at the beginning, like some grunginess and some alternative rock, and here they slowed down and to show you like an even softer side in How to Breathe. I also enjoy a lot Last Kiss. At the beginning of the song, it remind me the guitars and the distortion of My Bloody Valentine, like Loveless, something like that. It's like super shoegazy. But then, like the last minutes of the song, the way they play those guitars, it remind me of Nirvana. So I like the song that it goes from one thing to another. It's a really good song. uh I enjoy like Welcome to the Blue Sky, Rodeo, Stale, Summer. Those are more like poppy, happier. Like Ohio All the Time and Welcome to the Blue Sky. They sound like summer songs. So I thought the whole album was really good but for me those were standouts.
Yeah, Ohio all the time also makes you want to be in Ohio. And I'm from Ohio. I'm like, I'm sorry, people from Ohio. And but that's the second song that I've heard that has Ohio in the title. I don't know if you remember Hawthorne Heights, like the one that says "I lost my heart in Ohio."
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that song.
I'm like, what the hell is in Ohio? So,
Yeah.
so yeah.
What about you? What were your favorite tracks?
Well, right. I gotta say something I forgot. This album, I was reading the background. It's an album about love, like different aspects of love. And
Yeah.
I'm like, last week, Lucy Dacus put out an album that has to do with love, and now this band. But I'm sorry, Lucy. Mama did it better. Yeah, that Lucy album, it was okay. But this album, I like it because, like, for example, you have the album starts, like you could think like they could have started the album with "I Want You Fever," but I think it's very smart that they open with "Sincerely" because
Yeah.
soft track that is sewing, and then you get that other memorable hook in "I Want You Fever." "I Want You Fever." That's the song that reminded me of Baruka Soul.
Okay.
They're not the same song, but it has that same catchiness. Like
Yeah.
like I like the because the that song is all about like two people are getting back together and they're the talk of the town. People are about them. It's kind of high school, but
Yeah.
but it's a great song. It's so catchy, so melodic, and sometimes I am humming that track. I'm like, I want you, fever. It's a great track. I then it goes into rodeo, and rodeo is more of like an alternative song, like like I thought of like a lot of, and it's a harder hitting song, musically, and I like it. And it's like it's not my first rodeo. Like they tackle different things of love. I think like "Stay All Summer," that's like a breezy summer song, more popular. Same with "Bottle Blonde." I thought "Bottle Blonde" is a great single because it's like it's they're basically talking about a dumb blonde. It's bottle blonde, and it's got they're very good at earwormy like chorus
Yeah.
because like I'm telling you, you listen to this song and it gets stuck in your head.
Yeah. Well, bottom blown. I didn't thought it was they were talking about a dumb blonde. I thought more like when you're young, because this album feels like very young, like when you those years when you're really young that you dyed your hair blonde and you experiment and you fell in love and you want to impress and you want to be a blonde. I don't know. That's
Maybe it
what
could,
I felt.
yeah, because this first song, bottle blonde. So I thought that was super catchy. I think Ohio all the time also has that great go that way look. They go like da na 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 na. It's like the guitars on this record are really good. The
Yeah.
uh, and then you have songs like "Take Me with You," which is more softer, and and then you have "My Old Street" is a great album closer because I don't know, it reminds you of like where you grow up, and I think everyone can remind of that, and it's a rocking song. And you were mentioning "How to Breathe," how it like transition. It had like a Nirvana part.
Yeah.
I think yeah, that's a great track that that could be a single. I think I'm talking about all the tracks because even you have like "New Friend," which is like the end. Uh, it's like more slower. It's like I found a new friend. And
Yep.
the thing about this album is the flow because they put soft song, moving songs a little bit more softer. So it never goes like because you know I hate when those albums like they have like the first five songs are and then they have all the slow song. That really, I think the pacing you see
Yeah.
them up, and I think they did a great job
Yeah,
in
they did a great job with the PC and like the transitions with the because other albums like this, like you don't know when one song ended and the other one started, and here you can see the differences.
yeah. And Last Kiss is really grungy. It's a
Yeah.
really back, great distortion to it. So yeah, so I basically mentioned like almost all the songs. But if I had to pick my favorite three songs, I would say "I Want You Fever," uh, "Rodeo," and I don't know. It's hard. I like them all, but I'll go with "How to Breathe." And a fourth one would be "Ohio all the time." So yeah, so let's talk about our final impressions of this record and like a score from 1 to 5. So, Mary, your final impressions of this album?
Well, I know that this band is doing nothing new. They're not reinventing the wheel. But what they do like really really good. I felt like this is Worth a listening, and this is a great album for a road trip, or like I said, to put as background on a rainy day. And it's super catchy, and it has those earwormy songs, so it's you definitely worth a listening. Scored, you said 1 to 5. I think this might be a 3.5. I don't know. I think it's a grower.
Great. So for me, I love this album. But yeah, I think like obviously I agree with Mary. They're not doing anything like super new, but also they do it really well. And I don't know, the band can grow and do some different, add some different elements. But I would say it's a strong 4 out of 5 for me. Like I don't dislike anything in this album. I like the flow, and maybe some of the song lyrics are better than others. Uh,
Yeah.
but they also look very young.
Yeah, but I read that they've been playing for over 10 years.
They,
But I like that they sound and they look very young. They still like keep that young heart or lyrics and everything. So I like that. But and I also read that they open like for big bands like Decca for Cutie, Weezer, and I don't remember which other ones, but they have been opening to big.
they've been around before Soft Cold. So, but I just discovered them like a month and a half, a month ago. But I've been listening to their
Yeah,
music.
and I think this is a band we can follow up and see how they grow and evolve. But I think they have a good future.
They have an audience because they did an interview with Apple Music. So you know you're big if your interview is with Apple Music. But hey, Mama, if if you're available, I would interview you for the Shield Dude on a Couch and talk about more about this song. So yeah, so Couchers, so we both enjoyed this record. So we want to know from you, Couchers, what do you think of Mama? Welcome to My Blue Sky. What would you rate it? What are your favorite tracks? And coming up next for Señorita Sabrosura and me, next week we'll review the new Birthday Massacre album. So we're gonna it's gonna be very hot topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one we'll review. So yeah, like that's a band that I reviewed their last album. I felt like this was like the Birthday Massacre would be good to talk with Mary because they're like a fun band. So that's the next review that we'll do. And what have you coming up next on your channel, Señorita?
We're gonna do review the new Mars Volta album.
Yeah, that's that one you'll do with the Mr.
I already listened to the album, a preview, because they played the whole album live, opening for Deftones.
Awesome. Yeah, so you already like you're ahead of the curve. Uh, So yeah, that would be with El Duderino, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that'll be a good one. I'll watch that. Maybe I'll have to listen to that. I don't know. Me and Mars Volta, I've never gotten into them. I don't know why.
Well, this album remind me more of their previous band at the drive-in, so it sounds interesting.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. So yeah, and so that's what coming up next for me on the channel. I have some interviews, and I think we're gonna do an "Is It That Bad for Kiss," which
For kids.
yeah, we're doing a Kiss album. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, so that will be interesting.
I want to watch that. I don't want to be a part of that, but I want to watch it.
Yeah, that will be interesting one. So until next time, couchers, this is Sector, the Shield on a couch,
Señorita Sabrosura.
and we'll see you next week for another joint album review. Thank you and goodbye.